better insight into your employee satisfaction. We will kick this webinar off with just one presentation of Symphony, and then we will let Pasi from HappyNow do the majority of the talking. So Symphony, just in short, who we are. We are the largest partner of ServiceNow in EMEA for the last 2 years. We've had very many implementations around service management technologies, mainly nowadays in ServiceNow space. We are a consultancy force of 100 people spanning across the whole Nordics, and we serve currently over 60 ServiceNow customers. We are a preferred service partner towards ServiceNow. We are a reseller partner, and we do the authorized support in behalf of ServiceNow, and we are also a training partner of ServiceNow. And with those words, I'd like to welcome you all to this webinar, and Pasi, please go ahead.
All right, thank you, Hannes. So shortly, just to get a face to the name, so my name is Pasi Nikkanen, working as the Chief Product Officer at HappyNow. Some of my background is working in a large IT organizations and actually running internal services, and now we are building a product on how to actually do the employee point of view to service development. One of our parent companies is Palmu, which is a consumer-based service design company. So a lot of the methods and ideas which we have now brought into the employee side is coming from the consumer side. So we really try to bring the consumerization thing into large enterprises. Some of our customers and maybe some of the numbers. So currently today, HappyNow in continuous way is being used by more than 36,000 employees, and we get more than 1,000 daily feedbacks. So individual feedbacks from individual employees, which is a pretty large number. So why did we start to do this? Basically, we noticed that many of the services owners, business owners, they are pretty alone. So they might have some kind of satisfaction tools and measurements in place. For example, the 3.7 is a very good number, which is very usually the case if you are measuring your customer satisfaction from 1 to 5. And it might be that it's in some agreements with your service providers, but it's just this one number that doesn't really say anything. And also what we have usually found is that service level agreements nowadays, they are pretty much the minimum level of service provided. So many of the providers are able to match the SLAs because of course they have been negotiating the SLAs in a way that they know they can match them, but that's it. So they just try to match it, but they don't really try to actually create a good employee experience. So what does it mean? So what we have found is that there's really a correlation between the happiness and the productivity of the employees. So this is a picture from our employee experience report. If you want to get the whole report, please contact me after the webinar. But here you can see that the companies where the employees are the happiest, they also say that they lose less than 2 hours compared to the employees that are saying they are not happy with the services. So we always measure two things, not just the happiness, but also the lost work time. And for us, this is really the key. It doesn't, in consumer world, you sometimes say that user is the king. But in business world, we think that you always need to balance the euros and the happiness. So you need to have a business benefit behind the happiness scores. And what we try to actually achieve is to create an employee experience SLA metrics. So some meaningful numbers so that all the different partners, the IT, the business, the service providers, that they could discuss and actually develop the services. and also the way to see where are the bottlenecks, which is actually the place where we should do the improvement. If you only have one common value, let's say 3.7, it doesn't really tell you what you should improve to improve the happiness of your employees. But like said in the invitation, I don't want to make this as a PowerPoint slideshow, so I really want to show you how does this all work, how does our product work, and what is the benefit that you get from using it compared to, let's say, the out-of-the-box ServiceNow survey tool or some other external provider tools. So let's start from the employee point of view and the agent point of view. What we have is that in ServiceNow, I'll log in as a service desk agent. So I'll take myself as the Rosemary agent. And looking at the incidents that have been assigned to me, I can see that there is a open ticket. I'll go and resolve the incident. I need to put some notes here. So battery changed for the laptop that is not charging. We have resolved it. And at this point, you might normally send the employee a approval or rejection email. And after some days or hours, and maybe not for everybody, you might then send a survey email later. In our solution, we are actually combining these two steps. So the employee is getting the email, but the email is actually asking to accept by rating the service. So this actually reduces one step of email spam from the employees. So I want to say that yes, thank you, Rosemary. I'll give you a 9. You did an excellent job. It was very fast. Your skill was good, and the attitude and the way you treated me was excellent. Thank you for the quick battery change. And at the same time, we are asking from the employees how much work time did you lose because of this case. And all these things after clicking the number 9 are optional. So even if the employee wouldn't select anything here, or wouldn't write anything, or wouldn't give the lost work hour, we would still close the ticket and we would record the number 9 for that. So basically we can say that, okay, I lost 1 hour because I was waiting, maybe at the on-site service for the guy to change it and get it back to me. I'll send this additional information, and that's it from the employee point of view. Now, normally at this point, if you're using the traditional tools, the agent who was handling the case doesn't really get this information in real time. So in HappyNow, when the Rosemary agent now opens his or her desktop, we can actually see that there has been, feedback given. So, of course, now I have a bit of lag here, but yeah. So when Rosemary agent opens the view, she can actually see all the real-time feedback coming to her. She can also see the numbers. So she can see what is the average number that she has now in the last 7 days. She can see what is the last 30 days and the last year. So this gives Rosemary an idea if she is developing in her skills as to serving the employees. Opening some of the feedback, she can directly see who was the person sending the information, what were the factors, like saying that I learned something or I was informed about the process. There's also, of course, direct linkages to the tickets and the groups and all that kind of information. And this is really good for these two people to connect. And actually, if I would get one, I could just directly open the information of this employee and call him, or maybe have an instant messaging and just ask, hey, what did we do wrong? How can we make it, make it so that we'll fix this? So you can be really proactive in this moment. But the next step, what HappyNow does, is actually going towards the service desk owners. So how does this benefit the service desk owner and the group managers and so on? Well, if I change my role in the ServiceNow to be the Claudio, the IT manager, then what I actually see is a little bit different type of view. Now you can actually see here is the feedback that was just given by the Finnish employee. So as the IT manager, I can see all my group's feedbacks. So all the agents that are working for me, I can see this and I can monitor. So if I can see that somebody has just gotten 1, I can maybe talk with Rosemary, like if we are sitting in the same room. Hey, Rosemary, what is this case? Should we do something about it? And so on. Or I can just monitor how is my team performance going. So looking at these groups, I can see that I'm the service manager for the global service desk, the UK and the Finland local service desks. I can see the individual values, and clicking on it, I can see where the number is coming. So I can see that there's 2 people working on this group, and actually it looks like, from the lost work time point of view, Pasi is doing the worst job compared to Rosemary, but Rosemary is kind of still getting these bad reviews. I can also see what is the difference of Rosemary working for the global and the UK service desk. So maybe there's an agent that is working in 2 different languages. Maybe there's some cultural thing or some language barrier that is preventing her to perform very well on the certain group. So this is really for the service desk owners to see how their teams are performing. And this is probably also something that you can use as the service desk owner when you're having your weekly meetings or your daily meetings. Just open this. You don't have to create some additional Excel reports or PowerPoints to present to your team. But then what we are really trying to say is that HappyNow should be the way to actually lead and focus the development. So like in the consumer world, how do you actually make business decisions where to put the next development efforts? What is the place that is actually performing badly, and what is the place that is performing well? So like I said, what we usually don't like in the generic survey tools is that you only get 1 global number. And that global number could be this 3.7. In HappyNow, we can in real time break this number into meaningful things. So we have our HappyNow Insight widget, which can be configured based on your ServiceNow implementation. We can have it on a higher level, like services. We can see, for example, if we have enterprise service management type of approach, how is the HR doing compared to IT? So, for example, here you could take a look that maybe we should do something for the finance. Well, actually, finance would be that maybe they are just very hard cases. But if I would sort this based on the lost work time, I would say that I would actually need to look into the IT, since it seems that there is the largest business benefit point of view. And then actually, if we go 1 level deeper, we could try to see, so what is the individual service that is doing worst? So from IT point of view, it seems that it's the password reset. So password reset is getting the worst number from the IT services. Then we some of these financial services here as well. Well, that's fine. Now in the traditional way, you would need to start reading these 3 format feedbacks to try to see what is the reason why password reset is doing badly. In HappyNow, you can just click on these factors, and it will automatically show you what the employees have told you. So it seems that in the password reset, people don't know where it is. So maybe you have an automated password reset service, but the employees are not just finding it. Or it seems that they are resetting the passwords, but there's something in the communication, or still, people feel that the password is still not working when it was, or it's slow. When your password is locked, it's usually pretty time sensitive, because otherwise you can't really do anything else. For global companies, we can also create interesting metrics based on countries. So what about country perspective? So we could again see that we have quite a large differences in different countries. What about office point of view? We can do it from the office point of view as well. So all these selections here are totally configurable. So whatever fields you have on your tickets or tasks, we can put them here as a grouping factor. So for example, looking at all the assignment groups. In the services group manager view, you could only see your own groups. But on here, you can actually see all the different groups. For example, how is the financial service or the human relations doing compared to these global service desks. And if you are struggling with your providers, so you basically only have this kind of view that maybe the global service desk is the main reason for everything being bad. What about if you would show you a vendor-based view? So we can actually see that in the IT provider B is getting a really bad review. And as you just saw, if I click on that, I can actually go and take a look at the individual feedbacks. So these are all the IT provider B based feedbacks. And then I can see that the IT provider A is actually doing a really good job. There's like a huge difference, 6 hours in the lost work time and over 60 points in the happiness score. And the happiness score that we are using is coming from the consumer world. It's based on this net promoter score type of value that you can actually see here on the right. So we have negative values, neutral values, and then positive values. And the difference is basically the percentage of positive values minus the percentage of negative values. So that's why you get from minus 100 to plus 100. And also when you really want to kind of see, is there something else, like why are people saying that I have to explain this thing many times? What about looking at the reassignment counts? So taking a look at that, if some ticket has been reassigned once or twice or 3 times, is there a difference? So this really gives you or if they made the SLA or not, is there a big difference there as well? So of course, everything I'm now showing is just demonstration data. So some of the numbers might not make any sense here. But yeah, that's really, I think, one of the main killer features of HappyNow is this insight, getting a real-time, meaningful numbers from these happiness scores. And then, of course, since we are bringing the information back into your ServiceNow instance, so there is a separate table for all our HappyNow data. You can, of course, then use the ServiceNow reporting features. So you can either use the standard reporting, or if you have bought the performance analytics, you can even make trend-based reporting out of that. You can, of course, do it yourself, or then with our ServiceNow partners Symphony. And to show you a few examples. So for example, this distribution which is a really interesting graph actually. It's just based on the standard reporting engine. We can have happiness or these feedback counts based on months. We can actually see the lost work time based on different units. So you could see which unit is losing most of the work time. And always when you click any of these, of course, you will then drill down into the actual numbers and the actual feedbacks. You could have it based on a profile. So this profile is another concept that I'm not going to talk too much today about, but basically we have divided people into 4 different type of employee profiles. It's basically based on 2 different questions. It's are you usually doing the problem solving yourself, and are you helping others or not? And based on these questions, we actually get 4 different type of profiles. And if you see that 52% or almost 53% of your employees are in a certain type of profile, we can then start telling you what type of service experience things will these guys appreciate. For example, a doer would appreciate having a Google-like way of finding the solution. So all kind of self-help type of things, having a service portal where you can find the solution yourself and not just be on the mercy of the services personnel. And then on the other hand, if you have a lot of these supported, then they are type of people who just want to have somebody help them. So just having a very easy way to ask for help is something that these guys really appreciate. And especially talking English, not IT, to these people. So yeah, that's basically the demonstration I wanted to show you today. If you want to get additional information, you can just contact our team, or you can contact Symphony, and we can then provide a face-to-face or one-to-one link demonstration for you. We can go through the issues you have currently with your customer satisfaction tools, and we can find a solution how to move forward together. So I think that's everything from my side. Hannes, if you still want to say something for the end, please go ahead.
Thank you, Pasi, for a very, very insightful and very inspiring demonstration and presentation. I would encourage our customers to take contact with HappyNow or Symphony, your account manager in Symphony. Or then if you are joining us for Knowledge 16 next week in Las Vegas, HappyNow will also be there, so we can arrange one-to-one discussions and agree on possible next steps or talk more about HappyNow technology. But that's it from my side. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for joining. Thank you for your attention. And have a nice week. And that's it. Thanks. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.